What's up, YouTube? I'm back, it's Damien, and today I have another comparison. Today I will be comparing two different audio interfaces. And as you see, I have a different setup than what you're used to seeing me with. And the reason is because I want to take both of these units and see how well they stack up for somebody who's using them on the road. So before we get started, I want to list a few things that I'll be going over in this comparison. First, we'll be talking about portability. Next, the sound. After that, the functionality. And then the features, the extra features of each of these units. Then we'll talk about the price and I give my final thoughts. Okay, and finally, I'll do a rap vocal comparison using my Rode NT1, and I ran it through both of these interfaces so that you can hear what the preamps sound like in both of these units. Okay, so let's talk about the portability. As you can see, both of these units are pretty small, and to give you a comparison, this is roughly what these units look like compared to my cell phone, which is iPhone 11. So as you can see, each of these units are not too much bigger than my cell phone. And in the case, you can see that the EVO 4 is actually smaller than the cell phone. So let's take a look at the EVO 4, how small it is. It fits right inside my hand pretty easily. And then you have the Scarlett Focusrite, which also fits inside my hand, but not fully, as well as the EVO 4. Okay, so when we are discussing portability, one thing that you have to ask yourself is how durable is the unit that you're taking. And as we can see from the Scarlett 2i2, this thing's built like a tank. It's solid. The knobs feel solid on it. Everything just feels well built. And when we come to the EVO 4, feels pretty solid, but not as solid as what the Scarlett 2i2 feels like. And if you can, I know you probably won't be able to see it in the camera, but there is a bit of some give right here. So when you talk about durability, in my opinion, I feel like the Scarlett 2i2 actually wins that. This thing almost feels like it can take a nice amount of drops and still keep going. This thing, the plastic on it just kind of feels a little soft. And one thing that I did notice with it is that the compartment is easy to take off. So when this thing falls, you may end up getting some of these things right here broken off. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. It just doesn't feel like that the unit is as solid as the Scarlett. And the Scarlett doesn't have any parts that feel like they would break off if you was to drop it. So when you talk about durability, probably would give the edge more to the Scarlett 2i2. So let's talk about sound quality in each of these units. So for me, I've never really been a big fan of the sound coming from the preamps of the Focusrite Scarlett units, but I've always favored the Audient sound. And the preamps, I just love the preamps. And then also the A to D and D to A converters inside of these things have always just been top notch in my opinion. And the EVO 4 continues to keep that up. And in terms of sound with these units, I'm not particularly talking about the preamps inside of these units, but once you plug your monitors or your headphones in, I feel like the sound from the EVO 4 is a little bit higher quality than the sound that's coming from the Scarlett 2i2. So if I had to judge which one of these units would I prefer as far as sound quality, then I would say that the edge will go to the EVO 4. So let's talk about the functionality of each of these units. Okay, so for the Scarlett, let's start at the back of the unit. To the left, you have your USB-C, and then on the right, you have your line outputs, which you would plug your monitors into. Turning the unit over, starting at the far left, you have your microphone input, line 1, and then you have your microphone input, line 2. To control your monitors, you have a dedicated knob switch, and to control your headphones, you also have another dedicated knob. In the middle, you have your 48-volt phantom power, and then right under that, you have a direct monitor, which you can monitor your audio in mono or in stereo. And then under the gain for the inputs, you have your instrument line in. So when you plug in, like say your 1/4 inch from maybe a bass guitar or anything, you hit the instrument to control that. And then also next to that, and that's the same thing for both of these units, you have a air button, which if you are recording vocals or anything that you wanted to add a little bit of kind of airy frequencies to, you would hit that button to engage it. So for functionality is kind of self-explanatory. In order to get your first microphone working or a second microphone, you would just plug a microphone into the input right here. And then in order to get more volume, you would just turn the knob. What it does, it has a green light and it lets you know when your signal is too hot. So if you're not looking at your DAW, you can actually look at your gain knob to see if you are clipping in any way. So pretty self-explanatory. So now let's go to the EVO 4, which is not as self-explanatory as the Scarlett, but this thing does work, has some neat features, and let's go over it. So starting at the front of the unit, at the front of the unit, you have your DI, so you can plug your guitar in. You have a headphone jack. So on the back of the unit, you have your USB-C right in the middle. This is where you would plug your external monitors up to. And then as you can see right here, input 1 and input 2, which you would plug your microphone into. And so let's turn around and talk about the top of the unit. So we have your 48-volt phantom power, you have your mic 1, mic 2, and then this button right here is what they call smart gain. And what this allows you to do is to be able to set your gain automatically, and we'll talk about that in a second. So let's go over to the right part of this unit, and you have your mixer right here. And what the mixer button does, it allows you to it allows you to be able to say if you had your headphones plugged in and you are recording, but you feel like your music is too low and you want to feel your music a little bit and you want less of the vocal in, what you would do is turn this button. Well, first you would click the button and then you would turn the button to the right to hear more music, less vocal inside of your headphone. But if you wanted to hear more vocal and less of your music, then you would click the button and then you would turn the dial to the left. And far left, you're hearing nothing but vocal, and then far right, you're hearing nothing but music. So one of the best settings is basically to kind of keep it in the middle right here. And then under the mixer button, we have the monitor volume control. So if you have your monitors plugged in, you would hit this button and you can turn the dial up to control the volume of your monitors. Okay, and then if you wanted to control your headphones, you would hit this button and then just rotate the dial either up or down if you wanted more volume or less volume. So now let's talk about the functionality of how this thing works. You would plug your microphone in. Say you just was recording vocals, you would plug your microphone in. Then you would go, depending on which one you plugged your microphone into, you would go to one of these buttons. So say you plugged your microphone into the first microphone input, you would click 1, and then in order, say if you had a condenser microphone, you would have to hit the 48 volt phantom power, and now you have sound coming through your DAW or whatever. And then, so say if you had a microphone plugged into the second one, you would do the exact same thing. So you would hit mic 2, and then you would hit 48 volt phantom power in order to get the phantom power to your microphone. Now let's talk about this feature right here, which is the smart gain feature. So in order to use it, you would first click this feature, then you would click the mic input that you wanted to use the gain on, and then you would go back to this button, press it again, and it'll light up red. Once it lights up red, you just get your microphone and you start rapping into it, singing into it, whatever you want to do. And after about 10 to 12 seconds, what it would do is just take a recording of what you are saying into your microphone and just kind of set your gain for you automatically. And so that's kind of a feature for people who are having trouble setting the gain. And I think this feature could be helpful for somebody who is recording themselves and you just are not in a position to be able to try to record and look at and set your gain. So if you are away from your computer and you wanted to get proper gain, what you could do is go ahead and use the automatic feature, the automatic gain feature, and it would allow you to be able to record at the proper levels that you would need to record at. So let's talk about another feature that the EVO 4 has. Along with the smart gain feature, they also provide you with a smart muting feature. And what that is if you were already listening to your music through your monitors, once you plug your headphones in, the headphone becomes the dominant source. And with that being said, your monitors will automatically mute and you would only hear the sound coming from your headphones. So in order to hear your monitors again, what you would do is unplug your headphones, hit this button again, and you can turn your monitors up and down. Or the way that I do it, I would just unplug my headphones, stop my music, and then start your music back again, and it's automatically gonna pick up on your external monitors. So from what I see with the smart muting feature is that your headphone automatically becomes the dominant source. So when it comes to the functionality of both of these units, I would probably have to give the edge to the Scarlett 2i2. Everything is pretty self-explanatory. The EVO 4 is definitely nice, but it is a lot of clicking through buttons to actually find where you want to be, and sometimes that's just not convenient for me anyway. It may be convenient for somebody else, but there is a bit of a learning curve. But if you do want to just kind of mess with different things, take advantage of some of the features, it may not be a big issue for you. As far as just clicking through to find everything that you need, you have one dedicated knob. So it's not horrible. It just takes a bit of learning and getting used to something different. So if you in the market for learning something different, definitely go with the EVO 4. But if you want something that's just kind of quick and the functionality is just so much easier, then I would go more with the Scarlett 2i2 in this case as far as functionality is concerned. And another thing for the EVO 4 that may be a deal breaker to some people is the smart muting feature. So I think it was kind of clever the way that they done it, but I wish it was a way that you could turn it off. Like if you don't want to use the smart gain, you don't have to use the smart gain. I wish it was the same thing for the smart muting with the EVO 4 because sometimes it can be a bit of a hassle with plugging in your headphones and having to unplug them just to switch in between your monitors and your headphone volumes. So yeah, that's just kind of a feature that I do like, but I just kind of wish it was something that was optional in this unit. I do believe that in the EVO 8 they did change it up and allow you to bypass that feature. But I do believe for some people that could be a bit of a turnoff to have to plug your headphones in every time and unplug them just to hear your monitors. So let's talk about the price of these units. The EVO 4 is the cheaper of the units, coming in at $130. And if you want to get your hands on the Scarlett 2i2, then you'll have to pay an extra $30 because this unit is $160. Now let's talk about my final thoughts for these units. If you are new and you've never used the audio interface, then some of the frustrations for me having to click through and find my way through here would not even be a concern to you, because for each of these units, you will have to learn them regardless. And with that being said, I would go with the one that I have a trusted sound for, which is the Audient. The converters inside of the Audient interfaces are always excellent. And for me, I'm not a super big fan of the converters inside of the Scarlett series as much as I'm a fan of the converters inside of the Audient series. But in the case of functionality, it may be a bit easier trying to learn the Scarlett 2i2 over the EVO 4. But like again, I said, if you've never used the interface, then punching through the buttons is just something that you would learn and it would become just second nature to you. But it is just somewhat of a hassle to have to click through every button and use one knob to control everything. So there will be a heavier learning curve with the EVO 4, but you'll get better sound quality. And with the Scarlett, you won't get the same sound quality that you get with the EVO 4, but it's not far off and it is very usable. You can record great songs with the Scarlett, and also the functionalities of the unit is just a lot easier. Everything is just self-explanatory, and you don't have to worry about not being able to hear your monitors and your headphones at the same time. So if you wanted one of these units, it's up to you. I kind of laid everything out that I would think to talk about both of these units, and whichever one you decide to get will be sufficient to be able to record the music that you are looking to record. So I think that about wraps the comparison up between these two. So moving on from here, what we'll do is the rap vocal comparison between these units. And what you'll be hearing next is a comparison of the preamps inside of these interfaces. And once again, I've used the Rode NT1 microphone and I ran it through each of these units, and I will label each take A and B, and at the end I will reveal which one was which. And so hopefully that will help you decide which one of these units you would personally like.
You know these dudes ain't worried about nothing, yo. And at the moment you do, you're moving too slow, living with both feet on the gas. How fast can this life go? And all for the cash. These dudes are mash your potato and put it on the big screen. Food Network, do anything to get them greens to build net worth. He dreamed of being hood rich. He never believed his name would be next to R.I.P. in manuscript. You know these dudes ain't worried about nothing, yo. And at the moment you do, you're moving too slow, living with both feet on the gas. How fast can this life go? And all for the cash. These dudes are mash your potato and put it on the big screen. Food Network, do anything to get them greens to build net worth. He dreamed of being hood rich. He never believed his name would be next to R.I.P. in manuscript.
I hope this video was helpful to you in some way. I hope you have a better picture of what these different interfaces offer. And if you like the video, share the video. Also subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you'll be notified when I drop more videos just like these on the channel. And until next time, I'll see you. And don't forget to hit that like button. I'm out.